Josh Finan, welcome to An Actor Who Spares. How are you doing, man?
Hello, Ryan. Nice to meet you. How you doing?
It's good, man. Merry Christmas, I should say. A little bit early here, but
I
it's the
know.
holiday
Yeah,
season.
yeah. It's feeling quite festive in London at the moment, to be honest.
Oh, I bet, man. I've never gotten to spend like the holidays there, but I can imagine, after watching Love
Yeah.
Actually every year, that is pretty amazing.
It's exactly like Love Actually.
I bet. It's funny. I had him, the kid, on the show, and I kind of Christmas is a crazy time for him.
Oh
Thomas Brody
yeah.
Sangster.
Yeah. Oh, did you really? Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
How funny.
we're here to talk about you today, man, and I am such a fan and such an honor to get to speak with you. I mean, you're carving out such an amazing career for yourself, man. I mean, the work, Responder, Gentleman, Baby Reindeer. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just like so impressed with your work, brother, and it's going to be a lot of fun to kind of dig in today. But if it's cool with you and as my audience, I would like to start at the beginning. Where did you grow
Yeah.
up?
I grew up on the Wirral. We say on the Wirral. It's the Wirral Peninsula, and anyone that's from there, like, it's slightly linguistically not quite correct to say you're on somewhere, but that's the shorthand. And it's yeah, so on the Wirral, near in Merseyside, just sort of separated by the River Mersey from Liverpool. Um, and then you've got Chester down the other side. Um, yeah, so yeah, grew up there.
So it's like
And
adjacent to Liverpool.
yeah, it's a little like it sort of like sticks off the side of Liverpool. It's a little peninsula that just juts off.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
would you still fall under the Scouser label?
That's extremely strict sort of like separation about who's a proper Scouser or not, and sadly I don't fall into that postcode. Um,
Ah,
it's quite tribal. Do you know what I mean? The worst thing I could do is come on your show, Ryan, and claim to be a Scouser, I'm not
touche.
sure how good that
I
is.
don't want to push any
Yeah,
labels that aren't accurate.
yeah.
But talk to me, man. Are your parents artists?
Art? No, no, no. Do you know what? My mum loved drawing back in the day. There's a pencil drawing that we like hang in our that they hang in their house. Um, but no, no, they did sort of very. I guess probably everyone thinks that their upbringing is the normal upbringing. I would say that they had like normal sort of like office jobs. They met working in a job center, which I don't know what the equivalent might be in the States, but I don't know if you've heard of a job center over here. It's
It,
basically helping people, helping those on benefits find
oh,
work. Like,
amazing. Okay, yeah, we would call
yeah.
that like a social benefit center.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So they met working just in the office of a job center on the
Wow.
Wirral. Yeah. Um,
And are you the only child?
no, I've got a sister. I've got a younger
You do.
sister.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Um, she's very
culturally,
artistic. She's a very talented machinist and seamstress and designer. She works for an upcycling well, she works for a vintage company and she's the head of the upcycling wing. So they get a load of like knockoff or like no, not knockoff, very much the genuine article clothes, like old sort of like Gucci or Armani or like whatever it sort of is, but it's like it's been damaged or it needs repairs or they basically get it and can she can she'll come up with an idea. All right, let's turn that jacket into a handbag or a pair of shoes. Do you know what I mean? Like she's
yeah,
mastermind the whole like upcycling wing. She's great.
that's incredible. Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
culturally, what was like your upbringing, right? Were you watching a lot of like film and TV? Theater, was that a part of your childhood at all?
Do you know what? It was mainly theatre wasn't really a part of my upbringing. There was a very small theatre near where we lived that did a seasonal pantomime. So they'll have one on at the moment, probably. And I was quite sort of transfixed by that. But like it was a little while until I saw, I don't know, a show like a show with a sort of with a big budget and a bit of scope. So yeah, it was TV and film. We watched a lot of TV and film growing up.
American or a lot of like British, costume dramas or
Yeah, I guess everything really. Whatever was sort of, I mean, back in those days, it was like whatever like had been pre-recorded, on the telly or
yeah,
whatever, like have the VHS cassettes. Um, so I mean, I remember watching like a lot of Disney. Do you know what I mean? Godzilla, the
yeah.
1996 Godzilla. Do you
The
remember that with
Matthew
Matthew
Broderick
Broderick?
one.
Yeah, yeah.
I
That
went to
was
see
like
it
a
in cinemas
staple.
many times,
Did
man. I,
you?
I
Did
love
you?
that
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah,
Wow. So
yeah,
so where was the kind of like inclination for you that started to kind of open your eyes to like being interested into whether it was film and TV or performing? Was
yeah.
there a moment?
Well, I think I quite liked. I don't know. I guess I don't know. This is probably common for a lot of actors is that like initially they were maybe quite shy, and I think I was a little bit shy when I first started school, and I remember like having in English classes and whatever like reading. We were reading the Twits. No, I think it was the Witches actually, the Roald Dahl story, the Witches. And I
Wow.
was very confident. I was very happy to like read it out in all the voices and stuff. And I think my then teacher in year three, which I don't know if that means anything to you. I think we were like eight. I think is you're about
Yeah,
eight.
like third grade is what we call
Okay.
it. So pretty
Yeah,
much same
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah. And she was like, you should look up for like a little drama class. He's got a lot of energy. Do you know what I mean when he gets going? So then my mum found a drama group that was 50 pence a week. You just bring your little 50p coin and hand that in on the door. And it was basically a place to like sort of just run around and be a bit free and I don't know, do silly voices and impressions and whatever. And like that was like a very like entertaining thing to do, but also for a lot of the kids, it's it catered for a lot of like sort of working class or like lower middle class kids. Do you know what I mean? And it was I don't know a thing to sort of keep them on the straight and narrow, maybe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and but as well as like being very sort of fun and like good for your soul and all of that. Like,
Amazing. And
yeah,
did you have fun doing those?
yeah, yeah. It was brilliant. I'm still in touch with the my former teacher, who used to run these. She ran drama classes for both children and then like young adults up until 18, and then she also like she did tap dancing lessons, ballet lessons. She was maybe in her 70s then, um, and she would direct the pantomimes or the musicals and whatever that went on in the local theatre group. She's a bit of like a hero, like in that corner of the northwest.
Wow.
Yeah,
What's her name?
her name's Julie Whitehead.
Shout out Julie.
Yeah, yeah,
And and as you progress, I gotta say, like, one of the things that I'm so envious about in the kind of UK landscape that we don't have here in the States is, like youth theater. There's so many great ones around the UK that we just don't have here. As you got older, did you kind of get into any kind of like bigger tribes or what was your journey like?
I guess like to be honest, I stayed with that company. Um, the amateur. It was called the Port Sunlight Players, and I stayed with them until I was 18, and then I went away to uni. And then when I did English literature
Where?
in Sheffield,
Wow.
um,
Arctic
and
Monkeys.
yeah, 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 yeah. So that was there, and they were sort of like their footprint was still pretty large at the time that I was there. Like the old, like where they used to play, the lead mill was quite
Before
big.
they took off or
No, they'd taken off by that
okay.
point, but like it was all anyone could sort of go on about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the best,
And
man.
rightly so. Like they are class.
Yeah. And,
Um,
and so talk to me then. So you went to uni for English, like you didn't do the Lambda Rada right out
yeah,
of
no,
what we call high school?
right, yeah, no, I did.
Yeah.
You know what? There was. I guess there wasn't anyone at my school that was like, oh yeah, go off and go off and be an actor. Like there was no one, and I don't know if they knew what the necessary route was. It was maybe not a common pursuit. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
didn't necessarily have the acumen to guide the students down that route. I mean, they didn't offer it. I went to a boys' school, and they didn't offer drama as like a subject. So when it came to A levels, or when you like 16, 17, 18, I went next door
Yeah.
to the college school and did drama there. Um, the timetables like worked out, and I managed to get a qualification in it. But even so, there was no kind of, I didn't know what a drama school like was,
Mm.
and it was very sort of, I don't know, I kind of get a degree first, and then if you want to be an actor still. So I did that. I mean, I don't know what like English lit would have given me like as a backup plan. Do you know what I mean? I just like enjoyed like
Yeah.
just had a nice
Totally.
time. But I got to uni and then like met like a load of, I don't know, people who were interested in the same sort of thing, and I found out, I think, about drama school there, like from some
Wow.
of, you know what I mean, um and we did a lot. We made a lot of plays for like, for with no money at all, and for no money, just like in our spare time. Um, like I think I'd been involved in like 20 sort of productions, like either big or small scale. By the time I left, so I just, you know what I mean. It was a nice little like playground, basically, to sort of, I don't know, make stuff and figure out stuff and feel
Yeah.
like you know everything. Do you know what I mean? Like with people your own age and whatever.
Do you feel like you kind of started to find your confidence there a little bit?
Yeah, I think so, but only sort of because there probably like wasn't a lot of like lads that wanted to do it, and therefore like I ended up getting quite a lot of good parts just because I guess I was one of the very few who like were up for it. Um,
Amazing.
but inevitably that like gives you a confidence. You know what I mean?
Were you just doing contemporary or were you doing classical work as well?
No, I rocked up to uni, and the first thing I did was King Lear. There was like I saw a poster for audition for
Edmund?
King. No, I played King Lear.
No way! That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
crazy.
Like dry shampoo in my hair and a fake beard, and like just did an impression of Ian McKellen for 2 hours. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
But like that in itself, I think was like, oh, I feel quite confident. Do you know what I mean now? And I've like, I don't
Yeah.
know. We actually found. I was at one of my mates' house, and we found a DVD of it, like static camera, like right at the back of the, with occasionally like zoomed in. Do you know what I mean? And it like, it's, I don't know. It's a piece of history. Do you know what I mean? I'll say no
Yeah.
more.
Got to put
Yeah.
it on your IMDb, man.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm missing the trick. Yeah.
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 So then at
Yeah.
what point then was there like a mentor? Was there someone that was like, you should look into drama school? When did that happen?
I don't know if I can pinpoint a specific mentor. Oh, do you know what? There was one of my who's now like a very dear friend. Tilly Steele is her name. She's an actor as well, from the north, and she went to Bristol Old Vic. She was the year above me in Sheffield, and she went to Bristol, and we were talking, and she was like, "You got to come and audition." You know what I mean? Like, just try your luck. Worry about the sort of, I don't know, try and get the funds if you get in later. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so, um, I remember I stayed at her house, at her flat in Bristol the day before my audition, and sat in her little kitchen doing my speeches to her, and that was quite a nice like thing. And then I got into Bristol. Do you know what I mean? So like I owe her
That
a
was the
lot.
only one you did?
Yeah, because I couldn't afford, they're quite expensive, really.
It's like
The
150 pound a school, right?
book, yeah, it might be by now. Yeah, it might
Yeah.
not be that much at the time, but then you've got to think about the trains and whatever, the
Yeah.
travel and accommodation if you need it. So like I thought, well, and also I was like quite just, we were doing a production of like Jerusalem at the time, and I was like, that was the most important thing. Do you know what I mean, in the whole world at that point? And so I was like, well, I've got to focus on Jerusalem. I don't have time to be nipping up and down the country doing drama school edition. So I just did Bristol, but like, yeah, like I don't know, yeah, got in. Do you know what I mean? So and that was a bit of a
Did you
life
do
change.
King Lear?
Do you know what I did? I auditioned with Edmund actually. Uh,
Thou nature art my
yeah,
goddess.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I love that
Have
one,
you
man.
done it? Have you done King
I
Lear?
have. Yeah, yeah,
Have you?
yeah. I love it. Yeah, it's my favorite.
Who
I
did you
think
play?
that's like one of the best.
Yeah, yeah, it's class. Yeah, yeah. Who,
Proper
who did you
villain.
play?
Well, I know I did it when I auditioned for drama schools. I did
Oh,
Edmonds.
okay.
Yeah, I did. I did that
Yeah,
Thou nature. Yeah.
Cool.
But
Yeah.
what do you remember what you did contemporary wise?
Yeah. Well, I sort of there's a play called by Alexi K. Campbell called is it called Pride or The Pride or I think it's The Pride. I'll double check. And I hadn't I knew the structure of it, but I hadn't learnt it. And so I made it, I sort of just made it up on the spot. And they were like, whoa, that was so natural. The way that your thoughts went all over them. And I was like, thank fuck they didn't ask me to do it twice. Do you know what I mean? Because I would have
Oh my
been.
God. So
Yeah.
when you were done, were you aware that the audition went pretty well?
I don't know. I don't, as I remember, like, I don't know, when you start doing the first couple of things and like, there's so much getting and you got get in the way of yourself quite a lot, and so I probably like beat myself up about it, but it probably did go okay, um, but there's a lot that you sort of don't know at that
Yeah.
time, and a lot that you sort of like you let a lot of extraneous stuff in, and I think I'm a little bit better at now at going that was probably okay, and now I'll forget about it. Do you know what I mean? Rather than
Yeah.
being too hard on oneself. Um,
And just to kind of like date it, how old are you at this time when you do this audition?
I was 22, I think. No, 21, 21.
21, 21.
Yeah.
And so when you got in, was that a game-changing moment for you?
Yeah, it was, to be honest. It just basically like I think having had 3 years of just like messing around in Sheffield making plays gave you basically you arrive at 21 and feel like you know absolutely everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course you soon find out that you don't, but you're not kicked down the ladder as much as if you would be if you were 18 and didn't think you knew anything. Do you know what I mean? I think having like a little bit of I don't know, a few years out. Certainly for me, I know a lot of people who went when they were 18 and have done fine. Do you know what I mean? But like for me, I think I needed that bit of space. But yeah, I loved it. It was and we had a good year, and we were it was Bristol, so it's
2 years? How many years?
two. I did two.
2 years.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Were you there with
and
like Josh O'Connor or any of the other?
no, he wasn't long gone. Maybe he was a, a couple of years gone. I don't. Yeah, yeah. Who was around and
Do you know Billy Howell?
Billy Howell? I think had left the year before we arrived.
He's a friend of mine.
Um, he's a friend of yours.
Yeah, yeah, I love
Yeah,
Billy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I like his. I just saw Palestine 36 that
Oh, I
they.
heard it's amazing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, we
very
don't
good.
have it access to it here in the States yet, but I hear he's
Oh, really?
amazing. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
If it comes, it's worth a watch for sure.
So,
Yeah.
so tell me about your time there. Did you really grow as an artist?
I think well that's interesting. Like maybe like I guess it gives you like so what Bristol says and maybe Billy's told you this, but like they don't necessarily prescribe like a model like or
Mm.
a specific technique. Do you know they sort of like they give you they give you a little dip into a few sort of models and then let you figure out what works best for you. Um, which I think I think works. I think it sets you up to I don't know continue whatever your sort of relationship to the work is as you go on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a way that's not too prescriptive. Like the word, I can't imagine anything worse than like turning up and being like, right, where am I in the school, and you end up not liking that. Do you know what I mean? Or
That
whatever
happened
it
to
is,
me, man.
mine. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um, so I like that about Bristol, and what it is, what's good about it as well is that like some of my extremely close friends I know from there, and we still sort of like talk about it. Do you know what I mean? And reassess our like I don't know our relationship to the job with each other. So like what it gives you is like in answer to your question of do you grow, I think you do, but not like without your like fellows. Do you know what I mean? Which is quite nice. You know.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And is it one of those things like all the other Lambda Radas that were all roads lead to a showcase at the end?
It was that was the structure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And we did it in London, which I guess was like fortunate because I think one of the worries about going away is that like, oh, are we a little bit are we are we separated from the industry, which I don't I think is a necessarily like decreasingly that's less of a increasingly that's less of a problem, I think.
Yeah.
But we did our showcase in London. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think Daniel Day-Lewis is doing just fine, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah,
t-
yeah.
talk to me about the showcase. Was how did it go for you?
Um, it was, it was, it was good. Do you know what? It was like I was sort of like a bit, but I don't know. I was a bit, I was very sort of set on the idea that this was a chance to like try and put everything that we've learned into practice, rather than let's try and model myself as a certain way to get an agent. And I was a bit
Mm,
belligerent about that. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I don't necessarily have a great like business head, and I was like, so much of this like the setup of like showcase runs so contrary to everything that you learn about like I don't know listening and like being alive and being responsive and whatever it like sometimes makes a lot of people absolutely fixed in their like in what they want to show about like themselves or whatever, and this is how I'll do that line and this is how I'll do my hair and that's how, oh yeah, two top buttons done, or yeah, do you know what I mean? And like all sorts of things that just drove me fucking crazy, and so I was like, I can't second guess too much of that, so I'll just try and like I don't know, be good, like, you know what I
have
mean?
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. um and Bristol as well do this thing where like that you do a monologue and a duologue, and but then you all do like a couple of group songs which are just like
What?
I don't really I don't really know if that I think it's probably because the school knows that the agents go to a lot and they see a lot of these things, and so why not like give them a bit of a laugh as well, like, and do you know what I mean, and maybe that
Yeah.
entices more people to come. But that like whilst it's sort of agony at the time is what I remember. Do you know what I mean? It's like we sort of that's a bonding experience, like in itself. You know what I mean? Doing these silly show tunes, like
Love
um,
that. Did
yeah.
did you get a rep out of it?
Yeah, there was an agent that came to see a show in Bristol that I were signed with and was with for a couple of years after graduating, was with them. Yeah.
So you were dead set then on like I'm moving to London and I'm doing this?
Yeah, pretty much. The first thing I like, first couple of jobs I got actually were away from London. So I did a play in a small theatre in Bristol, written by um, a lad who's now one of my close mates, Samuel Bailey, who's a very cool, very talented writer. Did one of his plays, and then I've continued to work with Sam. Um, since, but we did this play in Bristol, and then I did a play in North Wales, and so it was sort of a little while. I was occupied, basically, kind of traveling about a little bit, until feeling the need to move to London. Um, but then I did around like I think it was 2017, I think early 2017. I think I moved to London, um, and like didn't necessarily get I wasn't busy like at all. Like was
Wow.
sort of breaking my back, like working in a pub up the road. And
Serving, bartending.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Wow.
Um in like in quite a big in a pub with like a huge sort of beer garden, and so you'd be like traveling around, and I'd have a little iPad, and it was table service, and so it was like we just sort of like lost lost my head a little bit. But that's just what it is. I think it's when you're trying to find your feet, like you sort of,
Yeah,
do anything. Do you
totally.
know?
I've
Yeah.
done it, and was it,
Yeah.
this is obviously pre-pandemic, so were you getting to, go in for some good auditions?
Um, yes and no. I feel like the first couple that first little stretch out of drama school, like I'd I'd made some like really good like I connections is like they were mates, do you know what I mean? Like I was doing work with my pals, like working with Sam Bailey. One of my I did a play for I think literally £200 for the whole thing, with my mate Miriam Batty, who now is writing. She's written Beef. She's
Oh,
was in the writers' room for Succession. She was in the writers' room with one of the chief writers on Beef, and has now got her own Apple show,
oh
right?
my God,
That she's
yeah.
show running. And so I was like, "Fuck, like, you've done well." But like the thing was, is that like she wrote this amazing like play three-hander that we did in a converted car park for you know no money, and all felt like we were making something genuinely special, and really like got to know and like love working with each other. Um, so I think that like I was very creatively sustained, but there was I didn't necessarily start auditioning for bigger. Well, it was big for me. I mean, I went to the RSC. Do you know what I mean? I did the
Yeah, Royal Shakespeare
yeah,
Company. You
yeah,
did like
yeah, which
Macbeth
was
and
yeah, which was huge. I kind of all I ever wanted to do at drama school was go to the RSC. That was the pinnacle, really. Like,
so that must have been like amazing, like
yeah,
bucket list level. I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't get, especially the Brits in theater and Shakespeare, it doesn't
yeah,
get bigger than that.
100%. It was like you really like do sort of feel, I don't know, Shakespeare.
Untouchable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the way it's when we did three plays, we did them in rep, and there is a point when like you're rehearsing one in the day, hot foot over to the theatre for the half-hour call. You do Macbeth, and then the next day you carry on rehearsing Merry Wives of Windsor, and then that night you do Romeo and Juliet. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's really like
Wow.
it is the dream. Like, and we were there in the summer with a very young, fun company. Yeah, so that was quality.
And simultaneously, were you going in for like, episodic, like costume drama, classic British television?
Well, that contract was 15 months long. So to be honest, it's not a great. There's not loads of you're not available. Do you know what I mean? And so I wasn't necessarily, but like weirdly. Actually, am I being honest? Yeah, probably at the time I was thinking, why am I not getting any telly stuff? But like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's easy to look back and go,
Yeah.
no, we were pure, we were in Stratford, we were focused on the tech. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, it was a little while. Probably the first like like the responder probably was the first sort of like um yeah, it's definitely the sort of like more higher profile thing I guess that like I ended up sort of doing.
W-
Um,
Quickly before we dig into that, like talk to me and just for, the audience listening, because, so much of my audience is actors, and I feel like so much of our industry just like it changed with the pandemic. So
yeah,
how did that period affect you?
that oh man. I mean, yeah, it was kind of it was kind of wild, wasn't it? Like, I remember was supposed to have done so the guy I mentioned earlier, Sam, went meant to be doing a play on the West End. We'd done it in a small theatre in London, and it had gone down quite well, and
I
we
was going to
got
transfer.
it was supposed to. Yeah, this was a few well, it was 2019, and the transfer was set for April of 2020. And
No way. Oh my
And so
God.
we just sort of missed out. And I remember sort of getting to that point and going, oh, if we can do that show on the West End, that might sort of that might change
Your
stuff.
life.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Yeah. And so I was sad that we didn't do
Yeah.
it. Um, but but quite quickly, like lockdown happened, and then you go right. Well, I don't know. There was weirdly, I don't know about yourself, but I found kind of peace in the fact that everyone was sort of in the same boat, and therefore,
Yeah.
okay, let's commit to 4 months where everyone doesn't do like anything. I don't know. I maybe that's rose tinted glasses a little bit, but I do feel like I was actually in an okay headspace for a lot of that time. Weirdly. Um, um, so
Did you
I
stay in London?
no, I was back home. I went back home and stayed with my family. And my sister was there as well. And so we sort of like settled into like living with each other again for the first time, like as adults, which was odd, but it worked and it was nice. Do you know what I mean? Um, yeah, it basically put like a stopper on everything. Do you know what I mean? And there wasn't loads of things cooking at that time, to be candid, but like
Yeah.
yeah, the one thing that we were setting our sights on was that West End show, and we didn't do it. Um, and then like then there was all those sort of permutations of like I don't know what it's like where you were. Maybe it was the same sort of thing. If you can, all right, you can go out, but you it's parties of whatever it was, and you've got to go out.
Same.
Right?
Yeah. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and work wasn't really like you could. The theatre just didn't come back in the same way. So I was sort of thinking, I was like, I don't have a foothold in if I'm looking at it with my business brain, which I earlier referenced. I don't have a great uh, deal of space for, but like I was looking at the sort of state of things and going, I don't have no one in telly knows me. I don't know anyone in TV or film, and the few sort of theatre connections I did have are like or they're wonderful people, but like no one's doing anything. So like, what's gonna? I was a bit
Yeah.
of how to continue. Do you know what I
Were
mean?
you getting self tapes?
Nah, I think that year I had, I think I had I think I had two tapes. No, I had three. One of them was for Doctor Who, and they ended up they John Bishop played that part, and I was like, at what part did they realize that they wanted John Bishop? Do you know what I mean? It's like, what was the point to
Yeah.
learn all that? Like, you knew you wanted John Bishop.
Yeah.
And then one of the other ones was the responder that like I don't think I've ever tried harder with a I don't think I've ever put more into doing a like I knew those there was quite a lot of lines to learn and I had them like down and I went round to one of my mates' house who'd done a lot of telly stuff before, so he had all the lights, he had the good setup, he had a tripod, you know what I mean, like all
Yeah.
the um and he's also a very good actor and he's got an eye, do you know what I mean? So we
Yeah.
worked on it a lot. And I had like the character like sort of in that show is like he's not it's kind of I'm like that's not my life. However, he is as a person is like we do have a lot in common in terms of I don't know expressiveness. Do you know what I mean? Like and
Yeah.
so there was a lot that I saw in that code that I just that I knew, but still did a lot of work to try and get it to a state that I felt comfortable sending off to the you know the the writers and producers and Martin Freeman. Do you know what I mean? And so yeah, but that was one of three I think tapes that I got that year, and it's stuck.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So like I'm so unbelievably like lucky really that there happened to be a show being made in Liverpool that needed a scrappy sort of I don't know cheeky.
Yeah.
I mean,
And you booked it off that self tape, or was it a series of auditions and callbacks?
I went in once and met with Robert Stern, who was casting it, who's brilliant, and Tim Mielantz, who directed that first block.
Tim's amazing.
Um,
Philip Barantini's a
yeah.
friend as well.
Oh, is he? Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah. He's
Oh,
done the
yeah,
pod
I love
multiple
him.
times. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was mad. I had seen his the first short that he made with Robbie
Boiling
O'Neill.
Point.
There's one before Boiling Point.
Oh, is there? Okay.
The name will come to me. It's about a boxer. Robbie O'Neill wrote and is in it. Um, anyway, I had seen that and thought, oh, Phil's quality, and then ended up working with him on that show, in which he's also an actor. Do you know what I mean? Like it's kind
Yeah.
of an amazing sort of thing for him, and then he's just gone on to carry on being brilliant.
Superstar.
Yeah, yeah.
It, talk
Um,
to me about like booking a 10 episode thing with Martin Freeman. Was that an amazing time?
oh man, yeah. Do you know what? Like it genuinely, it was and is such a special thing. I made like one of my very best mates, Emily Fairn, on that job and loved working with her. And then when we came back to do season two, after having a few years of carrying on being friends, like that just made the whole experience richer, you know. The writing is of such like I do think it's of such like a great quality. It's full of heart. It's very like true, I think, to not everyone in Liverpool is as sad as the people in that show,
Yeah.
to be candid. Do you know what I mean? However, that every sort of like he understands like the psychology of people that use humor as a coping mechanism, and he understands people in certain like sort of corners of life up there. And I think it captures like it captures something quite like special. Like, oh, but it is skewed towards like a darker sort of like grimmer corner of the city maybe. But like I think what his humanity like shines. Do you know what I mean? Tony Schumacher, the writer, um, and Martin was wonderful to work with. He like just treated us as equals straight away. Do you know what I mean? He
Wow.
like just instantly sort of like was playful. Every take is totally different from him, so therefore you are. Do you know what I mean? But like it all could work. You feel like there's infinite edits of the responder that could be made in which he is very fucking good in all of them. Do you know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
was great to sort of learn from him and work with him and feel like it was normal. Do you know what I mean? It sort of normalized, oh, I'm an actor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which was nice,
And
you know?
and you're amazing in it and so amazing that you got nominated for a BAFTA.
Yeah, yeah, mad. Yeah.
Was that mental?
Yeah, it was like I think because in like as I've said, it wasn't necessary. It wasn't a very busy time. Like when I got that audition, so it as like a sort of turn in fortunes. Like it was just sort of unbelievable, really. Like I remember just getting the news and I was woken up by my phone. I thought that like something like that you would get an email by like signed BAFTA, but I didn't.
Like
I
a
like
week
found it
before
by
they
my mate's
announce or
phone.
something?
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so I just sort of like stood very still in the shower, like trying to process it, and then gradually my housemates at the time like woke up and started screaming when they like went on their phones, and so it was lovely. Like it was genuinely like what was nice about it is that it didn't feel like anything changed too much. Do you know what I mean? Like life didn't become hectic. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was just a nice thing to go and experience, and my family and girlfriend came along, and do you know what I mean? It was just a lovely day, really. You know what I mean?
Oh
Yeah,
man. I
yeah.
love that for you. Did that really, in a way, maybe the industry wasn't really seeing you for things before, just open a lot more doors, casting opportunities to you?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I certainly since I can trace pretty much everything that's happened since then to get in the responder. Do you know what I mean? Um, like, yeah. So yeah, I think so. There's certainly been like, yeah, there's been enough going on. I've had a lovely couple of years. Do you know what I mean? I've felt pretty consistently creatively fulfilled, either like doing jobs or preparing for potential work. Do you know what I mean? So like, it's great.
And I know you mentioned not maybe having the best business sense, which I don't either. Did you
Really.
know that would be like a good time to maybe get like a not to be disrespectful, but like a better agent? Like, did you flex up at that time?
I
I imagine you were getting tons of offers to like, hey, we'd love to rep you, you know?
well, there was a I did change. Yeah, my agent at the moment was a friend of a friend who basically tipped me off that the responder was being cast, and so and I don't know whether Rob Stern ever like read this email, but I sent him one, and my friend had helped me make a show reel. I'd done an episode of there used to be a British soap called Doctors that a lot of actors sort of go
Yeah,
into. You heard about
totally. It's
Doctors?
our Law and
Yeah,
Order SVU. Yeah.
yeah. There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And there was a little clip from a 5 minute role in that my mate cobbled together, and I sent that to Robert. And then a few days later, got an audition got a tape through for the responder. And so I'm like, timing wise, if Tim, my agent now, hadn't have sent that message, and I hadn't have sent the show reel, then maybe I wouldn't have got the got the got the audition. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I owe him a lot, and so yeah, I yeah have worked with him ever since, and he's wonderful.
I love that, man. And
Yeah.
and did that, did you start going from maybe auditioning to offers? Like, was The Gentleman an offer or was that an audition?
No, I taped, but then quite quickly they said you've got it. So there was no meeting, which was a first. Um, and then also I guessed what else that job sort of entailed was like a great freedom that you're sort of afforded by like um Guy and
Netflix.
Netflix. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
talk about Guy. There's nothing more British than that. I mean, was that an
yeah,
amazing and
yeah,
your character is so fun, they're like
yeah,
that show, like I think that was 23 when it came out. It was just
yeah,
such a great watch because there's so much dark stuff.
yeah,
And I think coming out of the
yeah,
pandemic, everyone was like, I don't think we want to watch fully dark. We want to like laugh a bit. And that show, I
yeah.
feel like gave people that opportunity.
Yeah. It like it. Speaking of, you asked what we would watch as kids, and like, yeah, there's a very well worn copy of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels that my dad had that I watched a lot when I was a kid, and so like it was a real like yeah, a sort of a bucket list thing to work with him, to be honest. And it was just fun. Like it was you caught I turned up, and like weirdly for something with such a big like I don't know budget and scope, I wasn't stressed out. I just arrived, and I was like surrounded by all of these like amazing cars, and there's a fucking helicopter and a manor house, and Vinnie Jones is there. Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, this is just so fun. Like, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd thought kind of a lot about who that character was. But then you arrive, and Guy Ritchie just goes, "No, dude." One day I arrived, and he goes, "Well, what are you going to say?" And I was like, "Well, the script." He goes, "No, fuck the script. What are you going to say?" And I was like, "Well, okay, well, maybe I'll say this." And he goes, "Yeah, all right." Do you know what I mean? And so it's like, it's so sort of like, I find that quite fun. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if I don't know, if I had to do any more in that show, maybe I'd feel the pressure to sort of carry something. Do you know what I mean? Over more hours of TV, but as it stands, I just had fun, you know. Um, I
Amazing.
think,
And you got
but
a
I think
lot of
that's why.
time. Oh,
So
sorry,
yeah,
go on. Yeah.
no,
Go on.
I think that's why his things work is because like it he, I think he lets people have fun, and therefore the audience do. Do you know what I mean?
Very interesting. Yeah, it shows. Like, you got
Yeah,
to work a lot with Theo. How was that? Cool
yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah. Great. I he was around, and Daniel Ings was around, and Kaya, Scodelario, um, and Peter Serafinowicz. Like that was my first day, like hanging out with all of them. I was like, this is great. Do you know what I mean? Um, so yeah, they were all like very cool, like very easy to get on with and easy to work with. It like for my part, that job was yeah, very stress free.
It's amazing. And I imagine that obviously, we'll get to Baby Reindeer next, but like introduce you to an even bigger audience because Netflix, they just own the global market in a way that like
Yeah,
not
mad.
many other
Mad.
streamers do, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's quite funny that, isn't it? Like that there was did a show called Say Nothing that came out that came out around this time last year,
Yeah.
and had like yeah was super proud of it and whatever. And as it came out, someone came up to me in the street and was like, "Oh, it's you!" And I was thinking it's from my work and Say Nothing, and they're like, "From Baby Reindeer," and I was like, "Wow, that show came out 2 years ago, and I was in it for 5 minutes." You know what I mean? And yet it like because of the Netflix thing, like it yeah they do dominate. Like
Amazing. I mean, tell me that did because you were in The Gentleman, did that just naturally in quotes here lead to Baby Reindeer? Like did that come after The
do you know
Gentleman?
what? I think they were. I think if I remember rightly, they happened at the same time. I think that Nina Gold, who cast
That's talk about an
Baby.
office to get in, man. That's
Oh
amazing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They're her and her team are great. Um, talk about like empowering people. Do you know what I mean? It's they're proper. Um, that I think she had seen a play that I'd just done in London, and then did a tape for Baby Reindeer and got that. And oh, that's right. Basically, the money that I'd earned from the play was just about to run out, and I was like, "Fuck, what am I going to do?" And then that came through, and the gentleman came through that sort of was like, "Oh, okay, I've got got money to last till Christmas or whatever the case was." Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and so, but it was about like kind of that was the first sort of like time I had to worry about like scheduling sort of clashes, but fortunately that there was none. And I was, but yeah, so it was a bit manic doing two things at once, which is always a bit sort of crazy, but it worked.
Hell of a year for you, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing. And
yeah,
and you brought it up. I mean, talk about doing Saying Nothing. Was that a great time for you as well?
yeah. Like, do you know what? Like, I'm so like actors, I think, and myself maybe do have a bit of a tendency to be overly positive about stuff, but I do just think I've been quite lucky, like, with because that was another like sort of a gem. Like, it was a bit more of a challenge. There was a lot more homework to do. Do you know what I mean? That there was a lot more tucking myself away and making sure that I was like I don't know, doing the accent coaching or like reading the sort of books I needed to, or or speaking to I don't know people who knew better than I what had gone on at that time that the show is set
Yeah.
from the sort of like late 60s onwards. And then we got going and got to make sort of friends and colleagues with those other actors and creators on that show, and like that yeah that was another moment of feeling like I don't know, feeling like acting was my job. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
um and loved the process. I mean, like we sort of had, in spite of the um topic, we as like as a group had a really enjoyable time with each other, um yeah, a really cool group of people. The WhatsApp group is still
Still
is still
going.
still very alive. Yeah.
I love that for you, man. You mentioned something a second ago at working with a coach. Is that something that's part of your process?
So I went, yeah, Judith McSpadden is a dialect coach from Belfast, and she was sort of invaluable. She was my like comfort blanket on that job. We worked quite a few sessions a week until starting, and then she was there on set every day. And it's the only time I've worked with an accent coach who was there that prominently, I guess, because FX
Yeah.
had the budget. Do you know what I mean? It was also probably the biggest sort of diversion from my own accent that I've ever done. I think
Yeah.
the Liverpool accent has got a lot in common, there's a lot of Irish influence, but I think most of that influence is from the south. I think it's mainly Dublin that kind of influenced the Scouse tongue. And even though Belfast is only half, like, well, it's a half-hour flight, so we're close. We sound like very different. It's a whole different sort of muscular system, and so yeah, without Jude's guidance on that, like I would have felt I might have felt a bit lost.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
What about an acting coach? Is that something you ever utilize?
Sorry, sipping my ginger tea. Um,
No, you're good.
no, not no, no. Do you know what? It's not something I'd ever be opposed to. I just haven't thought about it. To be
Yeah, I
honest.
don't know if it's such a uniquely
Yeah.
American thing. Like a lot of us Americans, we
Oh,
use them.
really?
They're a big part here, you know.
Right.
I mean, some
Also,
people don't, but
yeah,
I feel like, especially for like auditions or booking big
yeah,
roles,
yeah.
people love having a coach.
Okay. And so right, and so you'd like, as and when the time comes, you give them a ring and you work on the
Yeah, yeah. Like you
material
just
and some
kind of
of them.
did, kind of run by choices and
Yeah,
kind of reframe things objectively with
yeah,
someone who's like, not really an actor themselves, but more of a director, So
yeah,
then you can kind of
yeah,
come with like informed,
yeah,
you know, character, I guess, would,
yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know what I that may well have planted a seed, to be honest. I think that like yeah, I'm genuinely always up for like and maybe this is the Bristol thing, like not setting anything in stone. I'm like, why not try that? Do you know what I mean? Like I sort of think that's like if it's gonna give you, it can only sort of, I don't know, if it plants a seed, then that's brilliant. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of like maybe the equipment. I spend maybe a bit more time than I should like sat in pubs with mates talking shit. Do you know what I mean? And so that's enough to sort of like keep the keep it ticking. But yeah, maybe a professional would be good as well.
Yeah, man. Well, talk to me, Josh. I mean, you got some amazing projects in the pipeline. I know you got Waiting for the Out coming out soon. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
talk to me. Has it just been, seems like it's been kind of just a beautiful 3 years for you.
yeah. It's been lovely. It's been very yeah. It's been busy. Doing waiting for the out this year was like it was a bit of a step up. Do you know what I mean? It was the first time sort of leading a show.
Yeah,
And going to
number
say
one on
that,
the call sheet, you know?
yeah. But like that makes myself cringe slightly saying that because like it's
I'm sorry. I
a
don't
show
mean
that
to,
no. But it is a show that like doesn't exist without like you know what I mean the sort of like the ensemble cast. And I promise I'm not just being self-deprecating saying that like they're very special in it. Do you know what I mean? And but yes, but basically like in terms of what I had to do, it was more than I was used to, and so yeah, it came with a responsibility. But like I was in good hands. Like I'd worked with Janetta Nordal who directed it before, and she did season 2 of Responder, and so we already had like a bit of a lovely working relationship, and so I just sort of trust her implicitly, and so therefore felt like even though the workload was a lot and the days were long and the hours were long and the character and for a lot of it is not feeling very well. Do you know what I mean? He's not in a good headspace. I like was confident that like, well, let's trust Janetta and the Dennis Kelly's writing. Do you know what I mean? And it will be it'll be a bit of a challenge, but like I think we're doing it all the right way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You're amazing in it, man. I'm just so impressed with you. Like,
Oh,
you're
thanks.
just such a great actor, man. And I'm so excited to see the other projects you have upcoming. But like, talk to me, like, what is interesting to you now? Like, I imagine maybe after saying nothing, you could have probably flown to LA, got a state agent, and
Yeah.
gone kind of back and forth. Like, what do you want to do? Is both an actor, an artist, and as
Yeah.
a human? What are the stories
But
that are making you say
yeah.
yes?
Yeah. That's yeah, yeah, a cool question. Because I did, but do you know what's quite like? that gives me I signed I got two managers um in the States at the start of this year who I love a lot and are great, and the credit to them is that they are super encouraging of what like piques my interest. Do you know what I mean? They're not
Yeah.
like I don't know if this is maybe this was probably an unfair sort of like um I don't know imagination that I had, but I was like, oh, what if what if, like, if an English actor goes to America, or you all of a sudden molded in some way, and they have completely Paige and Laura have completely sort of like disproved that, at least from their perspective, is that like when this BBC job came along for not a great deal of with a very small with a modest budget, do you know what I mean, and time constraints, and they were like, does that speak to you as a creative person? Look, go and do that. Do you know what I mean? We'll wait and we'll get cooking on other stuff when you're done, but that's like follow your heart. Do you know what I mean? So I was like very sort of like, yeah, really like grateful for their sort of influence on and input on like yeah decisions like that, because there was no way really I think I'd ever be able to say no to a script
Marvel
like
movie.
yeah yeah yeah
That
um
that's
yeah. But in terms of going forward, I don't know. Do you know what's quite nice is that like I don't know, everything has been a surprise so far, and what you know that you if something comes through that's inspiring, you instantly sort of know. Do you know what I mean? And so just wait. You're not trying to preempt too much, maybe.
yeah.
Having I was on the phone to Dennis Kelly the other day, and I was like, "You've ruined it, mate, because I've my standards now are so like high after having worked with your script that like
Yeah.
sort of I'm just not going to work again." Like, you know, um,
do,
yeah.
do you feel an imperative to do theater? Like, I mean, no, it doesn't pay as well, but is that something that is, like, are you
Yeah, sort of always on the lookout for a play, to be honest. I like yeah, I I absolutely would. I did a play last year. I haven't this year. Um but yeah, would I sort of I don't know what it's like. Where did you grow up?
where did I grow up?
Yeah.
Richmond, Virginia, and I live in
Oh,
New York
okay.
City now.
Okay. Oh, so
Yeah.
there's a bit more of a theatre scene in New York?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There, Broadway we have here,
Yeah.
but here we don't really, we don't accommodate the arts the way you guys do in the West End. It's totally and completely unaffordable
Yeah.
here,
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah.
so a lot of the shows here, like you guys have the Almeida. We don't really have anything quite
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. There does seem to be like it seems like everyone I know who's a an actor from England or the UK like has fell in love with theatre first. Do you know what I mean? Like they had a similar experience of going to a youth club or like doing it in
Yeah,
school or whatever, and so it like there was a crowd of I don't know however many people in front of you before there was ever a camera in front of you, and so I like most yeah sort of my mates like love theatre and sort of yeah are always up for sort of doing it. I guess maybe they're sort of maybe more TVs. Maybe I don't really know. I'm yeah. I don't know what this. I don't know if there's any fixed logic to it really. Like I hope one comes up soon, but if it doesn't, I'm sort
I'm
of.
sure it will, man.
I mean, yeah,
And maybe on Broadway, and I'll come see
yeah,
it.
yeah.
We'll hang in New
Yeah, yeah. That would be love. I genuinely would love. That's a bit of a bucket list thing as well. I like was in New York last year doing some stuff for Say Nothing, and like it's such a magic place to walk around. Like
Yeah.
it genuinely is like a special place.
Talk to me, like, as an artist and as a creative person, do you feel, since you've gotten to do so much television at this point, like ever an interest in doing another part of like directing or writing? Is there any other something in your
Um,
future, you think?
I hope so. Yeah. I at the moment am not uh necessarily doing much to facilitate that,
Yeah.
but I do. I sort of I'm constantly. I've got a little notebook and I jot stuff down a lot, but I don't. Nothing sort of cohered. And however, saying that, I had an idea recently, which I would like to sort of get going on. To maybe I don't know about directing, although I've just done a short film with a writer called Joseph Charlton, and it's his first directorial thing, and so he was adamant that he wasn't going to direct. He was a writer. Do you know what I mean? And then he went, actually, I sort of think that like with this story, because it's mine, I do want to do it, and so I don't know, I'll learn and I'll try. And he was fucking brilliant. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's precedent for it certainly. If and you can be guided by like I don't know the right people, then that's cool. Um, but I think my problem is that like every time I watch a film, I go, yeah, that's the film I want to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, I want to make Boat Right. No, I don't. I want to make Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? It's like, and so I don't know what I don't know, yeah, but maybe that's all right. Maybe it's a hodgepodge of influences is fine.
Yeah. That the best art is steel, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well, tell me, this final question here, and this is not an easy one, and every guest that has ever done this podcast, I've asked this question, but I know
yeah,
it's not easy. And so for the actors listening, specifically with like the UK, there's like kind of a class-based system there that like,
yeah,
so many kids who went to like Eton become these actors. And we're
yeah,
seeing it here in America with like, people whose parents are very famous or wealthy
yeah,
aristocrats or actors. And essentially, what I'm getting at is like it has been a crazy time in this
yeah,
business. And you could almost make an argument that it's like never been harder to break in. In-person
mm,
auditioning has gone away.
yeah,
Because everything is self-taped now, there you don't really have to like live in a London or New York City or Los Angeles. You can live in
yeah,
Kentucky or
yeah,
Wales. And
yeah,
and and
yeah.
so it's harder. And I ask this in the sense of like for the actors listening now that are starting out or maybe just getting out of drama school, if it were you starting now, any words of wisdom or advice you might have?
Wow. I mean, yeah, that is you were right. That's hard. It's funny as well, isn't it? Because you're right in terms of like how on one hand, with a lot of people having most people having smartphones and being able to film themselves, like that the playing field is arguably been level a bit more democratized. However, yeah, you're right. Like it probably is just as hard, if not harder, to break into the industry, even though if you were savvy enough, like one, I don't know, Twitter sketch could get you an agent and get you a series. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? But I guess that like the the finance thing is a hard one. And it was when I moved to London. I mean, to be candid, like my rent when I first moved to London was far cheaper than it like than rents are today. Like I think it was 480 quid, which is the most I'd ever paid at that point and felt absolutely impossible. And like there was no other way to do it than working at 20-hour weeks or plus in a pub. But those leftover hours, because there could be leftover hours, like I'd put into, I don't know, trying to I don't know, go and trying to keep creative. And so I guess try and stay true to like what your like relationship is to like the job. Why do you want to do it? What are you sort of interested in? Um, like this is maybe a cliche thing, but like have broad interests. Do you know what I mean? Like if you can. I remember watching like there's a little and it's so fleeting, and I think maybe he was put on the on the spot as well. Ben Wishaw was asked like a similar question and he just goes, "Oh, do it your way." Do you know what I mean? And I actually like that's kind of an obtuse answer. Not obtuse, that's the wrong word. It's not a clear cut answer. Um, but I do feel like the people I admire do sort of do it their way. They don't try and um I don't know, don't try and just if you I think I used to be a bit like uh, yeah, I don't know. I'm losing my way a little bit now here. Like, I
No, I
think
think you're onto something. Keep going. You're doing great.
maybe like I used to think that maybe the only actors that I liked were the chameleons, and actually that's not like true at all. Like, if you only want to do telly, don't fucking worry that someone who's snobbish and only likes the Almeida might not respect you. Fuck him. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
but on the flip side, like if you only want to do like Chekhov, do your Chekhov. Like, do you know what I mean? Get stuck in and get good at it. Like Mark Rylance was like, I saw a thing of him saying like, oh, I just, found myself in a position where I was getting the opportunity to do a lot of a lot of theatre, a lot of Shakespeare at the Globe, and I want to get good at doing Shakespeare at the Globe, and he's the best at doing that there. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, pursue what it is that you want to pursue, and try not to be too sort of distracted by the extraneous stuff, I guess. Which might be easier said than done, and it's probably a long-winded way to get to that answer, but there we go. Maybe I think that.
Beautifully said. I really there's a lot of substance there, and I appreciate. And I know that was not an easy question,
Yeah.
but you were great, man. And Josh, I have like absolutely loved talking to you. Like you're
Oh,
incredible, man. Your journey was like awesome to hear, and I could talk to you all day. And you got so many amazing things come up. So I mean this sincerely. Like come back, on the next
yeah, man.
project.
Yeah. Like, you're very good at like asking questions. I feel like I don't know half as much about you as I'd like to, but yeah, I enjoyed the chat as well.
Yeah. Well, next time you're in New York, let's hang.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Class, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna say to be continued. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be lovely, mate. Yeah,
All right.
class.